The following is the agenda for the regular council meeting of the Borough of Compton Lakes Mayor and Council Municipal Corporation in the County of Passaic. The meeting will begin at 7:30 p.m. on March 9th, 2022 in the Municipal Building. Consistent with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, the meeting will open for public comments. Public comments may be made at designated times during the meeting and may be submitted in writing to be read aloud during the meeting. Comments to be read at the meeting must be submitted at least 24 hours prior to the meeting by email or to the clerk's office at 25 Lenox Avenue, Pompton Lakes, New Jersey, and must be length that can reasonably be read within the time limit for public comment.
Please stand for a flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting, setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through notice posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building, mailed all who have requested and paid for same, and published in the Suburban Trend. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sarah.
Here.
Council President Polidori.
Here.
Councilman Bay.
Here.
Councilman Cruz.
Here.
Councilman DeLine.
Here.
Councilwoman Kent.
Here.
Councilman Bennett.
Here.
With us this evening is our Borough Attorney, Mark Samarero, and Kevin Boyle, our Borough Administrator.
Okay, right now, I don't have any presentations. Is anybody coming? Kevin, is anybody coming from the bid? Not tonight? Okay. All right.
Public hearing.
Public hearing, they'll come? Okay. Liz, if you want to read the special.
Resolution 22-113, authorizing adoption of a budget in the amount of $285,000 for the Special Improvement District in the Borough of Compton Lakes for the year 2022.
Can I have a motion to introduce the Special Improvement District budget in the amount of $285,000 for the year 2022?
So moved.
Councilman Begg.
Second.
Councilman Bennett. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Bay.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Councilman DeLine.
Yes. Okay.
I'm just going to read.
Yeah, you want to read that?
Yes, the notice. Notice is hereby given Special Improvement District budget and tax resolution will be approved by the governing body of the Borough of Compton Lakes, County of Passaic on March 9th, 2022, and advertised in the Suburban Trend. A public hearing and final adoption for the foregoing Special Improvement District budget will be held on Wednesday, April 13th, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. in the Municipal Council Chambers, 25 Lenox Avenue, Pompton Lakes. Copies of the budget are available in the office of the Borough Clerk at the Municipal Building, 25 Lenox Ave, during the hours of 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. or on the Borough's website.
Okay, thank you. Just a quick update, that tax that we just introduced is a tax put onto the business establishments in town. It doesn't have anything to do with the residents in town. The residents do not pay that tax. It is just for landlords or businesses in our downtown district. Okay, introduction of the 22 municipal budget. You want to read that ordinance, please?
Yes. Ordinance 22-09, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank.
Motion to approve ordinance 2209 for introduction.
So moved.
Councilman DeLine,
Second.
Councilman Bay. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Bay.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Councilman DeLine.
Yes.
You got a lot of reading today.
I know. 22 municipal budget resolution. You want to make the motion?
I'm sorry, did I make a motion? No. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Councilman DeLine,
Second.
Councilwoman Kent. Roll call, please.
Okay, Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Bay.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Councilman DeLine.
Yes.
Okay, and I just have to read. Notice is hereby given that the budget and tax resolution was approved by the governing body on March 9th and advertising the suburban trends. A hearing for the budget and tax resolution will be held at the municipal building on April 13th, 2022 at 7:30, at which time and place objections to the budget and tax resolution for the year 2022 may be presented by taxpayers or other interested parties. Copies of the budget are available in the office of the Borough Clerk, Municipal Building, 25 Lenox Avenue, during the hours of 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. or on the Borough website.
Okay, so we've had a couple meetings with the finance departments and Kevin to go over our budget, which we'll go over next meeting. But Councilman DeWine, if you have anything you want to say right now, or you can wait till next meeting, whatever you want.
I'll go through it right now. What we see on the agenda is really thanks to the hard work by our administrator and our accountants to plan the 2022 operations budget this year. 2021 represented another year of reduction of our net taxable values, and that immediately puts the budget behind the 8 ball when planning the following year. Additionally, increasing costs that we've been used to are pensions, healthcare, negotiated salary increases. That creates some additional challenges to balance the budget every single year. But thanks to our professionals' hard work and some additional budget surplus rollover from 2021, this still required a reduction in spending on other expenses. Despite this, what we are seeing is that our services to our residents are still being maintained and our businesses, and the result is an increase of just what's under one tax point, which is $27.90 for the average assessed home in Pompton Lakes. That's about a 1% increase in municipal taxes between the borough government and the library itself, the library's budget. I think it's a responsible budget and one that's mindful of our residents' hard-earned tax money and our responsibility as stewards of maintaining the borough operations. Again, I think our administrator did a great job in what will be his last budget, and at the very least, we've introduced it. We can discuss it more at second reading and the adoption.
Correct. Most of that, but I agree with you. It was one of the top things we take pride in here is keeping our budget tight when we're moving forward. When we say it's on the average assessed value, I know a lot of people at home are saying, well, my house isn't assessed at that. That's the average. That's the average of a mean of all the homes in town. When that's being said, don't forget that does not include your school taxes or your county taxes. Now, the county has already come out and said they will have a flat zero this year, but the county does it a little different than us. When they say a flat zero, all those costs that Councilman DeWine was just talking about with pension and retirement and all those things, they do increase the cost, and they call that a flat zero. So that's how they come up with their flat zero. So there might be a little increase with the county. With the schools, we have no control over the schools. We don't tell them how to do their budget. They do their own budget. I can't tell you if it's going to be a positive budget or a negative budget yet. They haven't released it yet. But if you have any concerns with the school portion of the budget, you would go to a school board meeting to address it. We can't address it here in Pompton Lakes. Okay. Motion to open the meeting for public comments.
So moved.
Council President Palladori.
Second?
Councilwoman Kent. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Step up, please.
Randy Hinton, 443 Montclair Ave. Problems with Channel 77 that we had. The organization meeting of January 5th and the meeting of January 12th was not on 77 due to illness of the person that ran it. Usually I come to most all the meetings. I didn't make those 2 meetings. And being they weren't on 77, I didn't get a chance to watch them. I could have watched them on the website, but I didn't because my phone is so small and I don't have a laptop that's really functional. So I went to the January 26th meeting and I made some comments in the beginning. And when we were all kids, we never liked to be accused of anything, especially if we did do something in the positive and be accused that we didn't do it. So at the January 26th meeting, I brought up things that the Shade Tree had done, and I had said that our liaison didn't report on it. Well, I went home and did my homework and looked at the January 12th meeting, and our liaison actually gave a good report on the shade tree. So publicly, I said that he didn't. So publicly, I'm going to apologize so that I can correct what I did wrong. So hopefully Councilman DeLine will accept my apology for what I said at the January 26th meeting.
Okay?
So
Duly noted. Thank you.
Very nice.
Hopefully he will. At one of the previous meetings, a woman came in and spoke about kids on the ice. And our borough attorney was talking about working with other towns with a similar problem. And I didn't see where he reported back.
Yeah, we had, on the meeting that you missed watching, we reported back that there were certain things we could do, and what we're gonna end up doing is putting some signage down at the lake, explaining you were skating at your own risk, fishing at your own risk, swimming at your own risk, those kind of things.
So that's pretty much what the other towns are doing also?
I don't know if that's what the other towns
Well,
are
the
doing.
attorney was-
I can tell you, yes.
Yes. Okay. So signage will go up to,
Yes.
we probably won't freeze the lake this year again, so that'll be, so it's next year.
We
Well-
were gonna order rescue tubing.
Yes, some rescue tubing, I think we were gonna order too for there.
Oh, okay.
Which actually is a little bit more than others.
Good, thank you. I noticed back previously, we had the redevelopment meeting of October, and at the bottom of the minutes, it was written that you had made a comment about trouble getting pilot payments from the Salvation Army. Has that been rectified?
It's not a trouble receiving the payments, there's a method to how they do it, and you have to hire an accounting firm or an attorney that knows how to do that precisely, and they just weren't hiring the right firms to do that. So
On their end?
On their end, not on our end. We are getting the payments, just they're not doing it properly, so we're working with them to make sure they do that correctly.
And who on our end verifies that those payments are correct?
Our tax department, and Kevin oversees it when it comes in, but it goes to the tax.
Based upon the agreement outlines, the payments based upon the income increase based upon the, and again, it's chewed up, so we bill them, and the yearly basis is chewed up. And the problem is that the information relative to our ability to review their finances are kind of difficult to figure out, so trouble.
All right, so,
We have their payments,
all right, so on our end, with the new development going in,
Well, that's why I want to go it away.
Right.
We also want to the point of actually putting another module on our system that just does tax pilot payments. So now, instead of kind of doing it by hand, so to speak, Kevin now, Cal, put it in the system when he gets the new agreement, it populates there, so it becomes seamless.
So the reason,
So,
right,
good.
the reason it's done that way is because it's a revenue-based approach to how they pay, on how many people are living there. So you need those numbers from the person who's building the building.
Correct.
And we can't get those, so they have to provide those in a precise form. And they were using an organization that didn't really know how to present them at the time. So we're kind of steering them into the right direction. I would think the new company coming in with the bigger project, who has done many projects, that was his first project the other gentleman did, he would know how to do it, has no
So
problem
you
doing it.
feel we're confident we're coordinated
Yes,
between the two?
definitely, yes.
Okay. Any update on the bridge at Cannonball?
Yes, I have big updates for that.
Oh, good. You starting that?
I spoke with the county. The county, we worked out a decision, I was gonna bring up in my report. The county's gonna take over the bridge there and replace it with a new bridge. In return, they're gonna also replace the two walk bridges, one at West Lenox and one at Hirschfield with new bridges.
Really?
And they're gonna ask that, in trade-off, that we take over the bridges once they're put in, just the walk bridges, and they'll be responsible for the county bridge. Because if you remember, the county bridge was an orphan bridge, DuPont Bridge, or whatever you want to call it. It was
Right.
an orphan bridge, nobody was taking responsibility
Right,
for it.
right.
The county said they will take responsibility for that bridge moving forward and purchase a new bridge. And they will purchase new walkways for us, and we'll take responsibility for the walkways.
Well, we have been maintaining the footbridges anyway.
No, we haven't.
Oh, we have?
The county does, yes.
Oh, the county has?
Yes. So, and I asked him, just for the flood advisory group, and he's looking into it, if they can get large enough spans to go across the whole length of the footbridges without footings underneath them, because that blocks a lot of the debris that flows from the rivers. That would help greatly in flood events to make the water flow better under there. He said that was a great idea. He just has to check with the engineers that they can make these bridges, because they're one piece, they're all steel when they make them and drop them in. He said as long as that works that way, they will try to do that, yes.
Okay.
The only other caveat is that That bridge at DuPont Place will be designed by the Borough of Pompton Lakes.
Yes.
Part of the deal is we're gonna pay for that design. That design can cost up to $250,000 by the time it's done. Colliers Engineering, who's a firm we use already on staff, the planning board, has been approved, a bridge design engineer, the county, as part of our RFP, requires a bridge design engineer. Colliers now reviewing the RFP and giving a price, what's gonna cost to design that bridge, but it's gonna be hefty, it's not gonna change. But that's gonna be our responsibility to design the bridge.
And just for the public's concern, this bridge that we're talking about is a bridge that had no identification on it. It had some major construction problems on it, and no one could really identify who owns the bridge. It could be us, it could be the county, it could even be DuPont or Chemours, because it's that old. So after many discussions with Kevin and the county, we've come up with this conclusion, which I think is fair. I'll say, because the bridges, these footbridges they're gonna put in, and I happen to live by one of the footbridges, it's in need of repair right now, and that's why they're repairing them. And they should last a good 20 years before we have any issue with them at all. And we should be doing the snow removal there anyway, because our guys are there, so we should be doing it.
Correct. Let's talk about snow removal. I made a comment about Katie Cole Park and River Edge and the sidewalks there.
Okay.
Any answer on that?
Yeah, that's our responsibility. The sidewalks are our responsibility around the park. And I spoke to I spoke to Dan.
Ben's one long
Yeah.
gone.
I spoke to Dan, and he said that they will make sure they're on top of that. Also, Councilman DeWine, and you can jump in, mentioned the storefront in town that we kind of own or have been given to us. So we're also responsible for that. So they have to take that. You have to add anything?
Yes, just, I did speak with Dan, and he did say that, you know, we have, and everyone here has 24 hours after the storm stops to actually clear your sidewalk, because that's considered a secondary area for main traffic. They will plow and they'll shovel the primary areas, like on the streets that you mentioned, you know, where the schools are and so on. But because that's secondary, he went back in his records, and they did have it done within the 24 hours. It just wasn't done that soon. So they put that at the bottom.
Understandable.
Yeah, it's at the bottom of the 24 hour, but it was done in the period, so they were within their ordinance requirements.
All right, but I just remember last year's snow. It wasn't done for quite a while.
Well, we were talking about that one day, so that's what he looked up for me, and I said I'm sure that Mr. Hinton would be very happy to hear that. It was done.
Mr. Hinton's very happy now. Thank you.
Mr. Hinton's got to talk faster. He's running out of time.
Well, Mr. Hinton has another 5 minutes later.
Yes, he does.
You want me to wait till later?
Got something else? I'll take it real quick.
Just one last thing before you chase me off. Ex-Mayor Cole called me about a broken limb
Yes.
down by Lincoln School.
Yes.
It was by Lincoln School. So I went and I checked it out. The limb is pretty much caught up in the branches. But while we were there, the two crossing guards were there, and they were talking about the lines.
We're way ahead of you.
Are they being painted?
Yes, they are.
When? They're not tomorrow.
Next week or two, they'll be done when the weather breaks.
Yeah, I know. That's what I had said to the crossing guard. You really can't paint on cold paper.
Right. So they were scheduled, just so everybody knows, they were scheduled to be done this summer. That's when they normally do them. But
Right.
since the lines are so bad, I asked Dan to go over there, and he said, I'll get it done in the next week or two. And,
Oh.
and I guess you took care of the branch that was hanging over you.
No. I talked to ex-Mayor Cole and said she was trying to get me a bucket truck, but it never came in.
Well, you're tall. You might
So
be able to
then I
reach
told her about the current mayor, and I've been fighting for a bucket truck.
Hmm.
And a job that would have only taken 10 minutes, we can't do right now. So I have to set that tree up for pruning.
Think about all the time it takes to train those employees to do that.
Yes,
There's time involved with that.
You're avoiding the subject again.
No
Mr.
avoiding.
Mayor.
So I'm going to make it simple.
You're getting very good at
I'm going to make it simple. You're not getting a bucket truck. Make it nice and simple.
You know, there's a lot of college degrees up here, and I'm impressed by all these college degrees. But common sense, come on.
Okay.
We could use a bucket truck
We could.
for a lot of years now.
We could.
Smile, Councilwoman Paula Dawes. I'm trying my best. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? I step up.
Mr. Hinton,
Yes.
good job. Dave Rowan, Romaine Avenue, Pompton Lakes. I just thought I'd bring this up. Ramapo Ave has had a lot of deer this year and last year. In fact, when they plowed and salted, what was it, last Thursday before, like 10 deer ran out. and we're chilling out on somebody's house on Ramapo Ave. Can we maybe get a couple of signs put up? Deer crossing or
I mean,
something?
if that's something we want to do. I'm personally, I'm not a big sign guy because
I'm not either, but
we-
maybe it would get these
my only
idiots to
concern,
slow down.
my only concern with that would be then I'd have residents on every street saying I want it, because the deer, and Mr. Hinton probably could agree to this, that there are deer on every street, everywhere. And so everybody would be asking for it, but I'll leave it up to the council if that's something they want. I understand what you're saying, those deer, especially, everywhere, but especially there's a lot. So it might be tough to just pick one area and say we need a sign here only, and then everybody's gonna ask for it.
Sure, the reason I brought it up is because people tend to speed on Ramapo Ave.
Well, we can address the speeding, that we can definitely address. So who is my liaison? Bill, right? Please? Can you bring that up, speeding and,
Police are doing a great job on Colfax, doing a great job.
so now everybody just moved over to Ramapo, that's all.
They gotta make up the time.
They gotta make up the time.
They are on Ramapo, before they realize it.
Okay, but I thought I'd bring up about the deer, because when the plow was coming from Whitney, he must have scared the deer, and like 10 of them ran
Well,
out.
they come from Whitney from the back there, from Hirschfield Park in the back. There's a big herd of them down there that actually hang out. Yeah, there's a big herd back there.
So is that Mr. Hinton's fault?
I won't
The deer?
I would never blame a resident for anything, so
Okay.
I can't never say that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Motion to close the meeting for public comments.
Motion.
Councilman Bennon, Councilman, who's that? Cruz.
Can I speak again?
You can, it's a minute. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Approval of minutes, motion to approve the following minutes, regular meeting minutes, February 23rd, 2020. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Councilman DeWine, Council President Palladori, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? There's no bills this month. Consent agenda, anybody need anything removed? No? Okay, Liz, whenever you're ready.
Whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Compton Lakes have reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, where the mayor and council of the Borough of Compton Lakes did not desire to move resolutions for individual action from that agenda. Now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. Resolution 22-110 through 22-115.
Motion to approve the resolutions.
So moved.
Councilman Begg, Council President Palladori, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Whenever you're ready, ordinances.
First ordinance reading and the final adoption will be on March 23rd. Ordinance 22-08, ordinance revising ordinance 00-08, an ordinance providing for mutual easement by and between the 525 Group and the Borough of Compton Lakes, clarifying certain aspects of the implementation of the mutual easement, specifically the parties mutual agreed to clarify the mutual easement between the 525 Group and Borough of Compton Lakes relative to the property commonly known as 525 Wanacue Ave, bearing lot 10 and 11 of block 7400 on the Borough official tax map.
Obviously, an attorney wrote that. But can I have a motion to approve ordinance 2208 for introduction?
So moved.
Councilman DeLine, Councilman Begg, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Kent?
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori?
Yes.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman Bay?
Yes.
Councilman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilman DeLine?
Yes.
Okay, second reading.
Final adoptions. This ordinance has been advertised and posted on the municipal bulletin board. Ordinance 22-07, ordinance amending the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Compton Lakes and regulating road opening permits.
Okay, just before we open up to the public, this is a motion, something we brought up about putting it back into the hands of the building department to look at road openings, reducing the permit costs on it a little bit, because there were some hefty charges to the residents that they had to put out in an escrow. So we've reduced that a little bit, so I think it's a win-win for everybody involved with this. Okay, so motion to open the meeting for public comments on ordinance 2207.
Motion.
Councilman Lennon,
Second?
Councilman Kent, Councilwoman Kent, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Seeing no one, motion to close the meeting for public comments on ordinance 2207.
So moved.
Council President Palladori,
Second.
Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion to approve ordinance 2207 for final adoption.
So moved.
Council President Palladori,
Second?
Councilwoman Kent, Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Kent,
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori,
Yes.
Councilman Bennett,
Yes.
Councilman Bay,
Yes.
Councilman Cruz,
Yes.
Councilman Devine.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, under my report, I have to announce here, we have an emergency awareness seminar next Wednesday, March 16th at 7 PM here. That's always a very informational meeting. Tells you what to do during all emergencies, but especially during flooding events, which unfortunately comes around April, May, and June. Great for new people into town. You get a lot of great information there. People who've been here a long time still should be involved with it. It's better to be prepared for this thing than trying to prepare for it when it happens, because it never works well when you do it that way. So if you're interested in that, and Liz, will that be filmed?
I will, yes, I will film.
All right, so that will be filmed also. It will be on Channel 77 at some point in the future, but it's a good seminar to attend. We also are bringing back our CTO Day, which is when the students from the high school come over and take our positions up here and come up with ordinances and some things they'd like to see, and that'll be taking place, is that correct, Liz? March 23rd?
Our next meeting.
Right.
No, the council people will meet with their counterparts, the next meeting.
Right.
And then the April, I think is it the 7th, that meeting? I'm not sure.
I'll look it up here. April.
The next meeting, prior to the council meeting, they will do their
Yes,
mock.
okay, so let me go over that with everybody.
Change that a little bit. I
Right.
will do a detailed memo
Okay,
to everyone.
just for the public's concern, we'll be meeting, the high school will present students that are interested in these positions up here. Us as a council will meet with them next week at, I think we said 6:45, is that correct?
6:45, yeah.
6:45, we'll meet here at 6:45, you'll sit down, you chat, tell them what you're doing. They'll come up with a whole agenda on their own, they'll present it, they'll have a little quick meeting. Not that night, it'll be the following, the 9th, I think it is, or the 6th. We'll do probably a 6:30 or 7 o'clock.
6:45 for that.
6:45, where they'll run a whole meeting. So it's always a great thing. My kids all did it when they went through school. They learn a lot. They learn about government. They learn about how things work in a town. Because of COVID, it was short notice. We usually push it out to the whole town, and we have a DPW supervisor and a police chief and all these things. But because it's such a short window, we're only doing the mayor and council this year, and we'll be back to it in full strength as we move forward. Some exciting news is I've been working with a magazine called Business View, which is more of a corporate magazine, but it's a national magazine that goes to a lot of countries outside of the United States, and they're going to do a full story on Pompton Lakes, especially a re-emerging town that had a vital downtown at one point and is finding a different way to do this. And we fit into the criteria of 20,000 or under. They could have picked many towns. They're picking our town. The company will be in here next week to interview some people and do some things. And we've sent them numerous photos. So when the magazine comes out, we're hoping to even get the cover. They said there's a chance we could even get the cover of the magazine, which would be exciting. And it's called Business View. So when I get more information, I'll let you know about that. Okay, what else I got here? Oh, we're having on March, this is the first time we're doing this, March 29th, it's a Tuesday. There'll be a Vietnam ceremony for the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. We'll be having it at the memorial at 11 o'clock. It's open to the public, everyone's invited. I understand that that's a kind of a weird time for some people because it's a work day and it's 11 o'clock, but that's what they're starting. This is the first time they'll be doing this, and then hopefully it'll grow from there. The last week or 2 weeks, I've had numerous meetings. This is the budget time, so I've had a lot of budget meetings. We had a personnel meeting. We've had some meetings about bond counsel. I also met with a potential developer that would like to look at some properties in town. So it's been a busy 2 weeks with those kind of things, and I think at the next meeting, you'll find out more about our budget. And I'm going to say it again, I think this council is very respectful of the fact that taxes are the most important thing to every resident in this town, and they do a good job in trying to keep that budget low without losing services. At the end of the day, if you cut services, that's not really helping you. So but with this budget, we keep our services the way they are. There are costs involved with pensions and health care that go skyrocketing every year. With that, we're looking at roughly a $24 increase, which to me is a great deal. And I thank our administrator for doing his last budget, which I don't know if he's happy or sad about that. But You know, that's a great budget when it's only a $24. And again, I'm going to remind everybody, that's just our piece of the pie. You know, we're about 19% of every tax dollar that's spent is from our town here. The rest comes from the school and from the county. So we'll see where the numbers fall at the end of the day. And I need one closed session for two different reasons, one for personnel and one for attorney privilege. So we'll be having a closed session after the meeting. And that is my report. Council President Polidori.
Thank you, Mayor. I did attend earlier in the month the Pompton Lakes Education Foundation meeting. I have been a trustee with them for quite some time, as I don't always have the time in my schedule to attend all of their meetings. I do see all of the emails that come through, and I just want to thank Diane for all of the hard work that she puts into that organization. She does a tremendous amount of work for our schools, and she does a lot of the heavy lifting by herself, so I do appreciate it now, especially working as closely with the schools as I have been this past year. Her hard work does not go unnoticed. I also want to make mention of the retirement letter that we received from Brenda Castro. I would like to thank her for all her years with the borough, as well as your letter, which I read. Kevin, thank you for all of your years. I know we do have a couple meetings left with you, but I appreciate everything you do for the town. I do have a question about two things that we talked about tonight. First, the bridge. Can we talk a little bit more about that? I did see the estimate, the report in your report for the evaluation on the damage. So you said that, and it was a little bit north of 400,000 for the rebuilding?
No, I said it possibly could be as much as 250,000 for the design.
For the county's portion of it?
No, our portion.
No, our portion.
But for the county, they're picking up what that cost was?
They're picking up the cost of the actual construction of the bridge.
Is that what was on that report, the evaluation?
No, this is a report that's done by an outside firm that evaluates every bridge, every county, all across the state.
Okay,
This happens to be the most updated version of that report, which I gave to the engineer as part of their review, put together an RFP that makes cogent sense.
okay,
That's what it is. So when we discussed this last summer, the council agreed that we would pay for the engineering, the county would then build the bridge, maintain the bridge in perpetuity, become a county bridge.
Which is a big deal.
That's where I'm at. It's going to be an expensive proposition.
so with that, we did agree to pay for the design for the engineering. They're going to maintain and take care of the bridge, but then we're also assuming responsibility for maintaining and repairing the two walkways that we haven't up until now.
Well, those are the
No,
walkways on the river.
Those
wooden
had
walkways.
nothing to do with that bridge.
But the county had always taken
But they have
care
to be
of them
replaced. They're not going to replace them. They're bad. They're falling apart. They're going to replace them, and it just works out easier for shoveling that we do
On the
it.
river.
They get to them very late. So it's basically just the shoveling aspect.
So who's paying to replace them, though?
They are, the county.
Counties.
Okay, so we're not paying for the replacement of
No,
any of this?
no.
We're going to do ongoing maintenance on those bridges, though. But
Which
mostly snow
is
removal
just-
stuff.
Snow removal?
And the mayor is correct in putting some type of a steel structure.
Which would be
The,
more.
the problems of maintenance would be a lot less because it's not longer wood. It's all wooden structure, which makes a difference too.
Okay. And then the only other thing I have is, we have two events coming up this month for the middle school kids. One is being hosted by the PTA and one by the rec. And I just want to say it's really nice that for the first time in over 2 years, we have the kids participating in indoor group activities again. I know for us, I don't know what kind of response you guys have gotten for the rec, but for the school, we've had probably the biggest turnout in RSVPs for the first dance that we're having than I think I've ever seen in the school. So it's just a good sign that the kids are ready to get back out there and participate in activities again. And that is my report.
Thank you. Councilman Denon.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to note that there are no more partitions. It's so luxurious up here with all this space now. It's nice to see all my fellow council members and you, of course, Mayor, without looking through glass.
Very excited. I bet you're excited about that.
Next, I'm wearing purple today because yesterday was International Women's Day, March 8th. And International Women's Day celebrates the globally social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. And as a husband of someone who works in a traditionally male-dominated field, and the father of two daughters, it's good to see additional equality. I'm in a lot of meetings, corporate meetings, and I'm seeing a lot more diversity and gender equality in my workplace as well. So that is my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Begg.
Thank you. I received the Pompton Lakes Fire Department report for the month of February 2022 from Fire Prevention Chief John Keating. He reports the fire department had 20 alarms for the month of February and a total of 53 alarms for the year. I received the Pompton Lakes Police Department report for the month of February 2022 from Chief Derek Clark. There were 2,370 calls for service for the month of February. There were 602 motor vehicle stops, 348 summonses issued, 4 DWI arrests, 18 motor vehicle accident investigated, 53 ambulance requests, 19 alarm conditions burglary, 6 alarm conditions fire, 0 burglaries, 3 thefts, no sexual assaults, no aggravated assaults. 6 domestic violence investigations. The Detective Bureau investigated 12 complaints. They conducted 9 background investigations for gun permits and 8 background checks for military and police agencies. I received the Pompton Lakes Riverdale First Aid Squad report for the month of February 2022 from Chief Travis Conklin. There were 64 calls for service for the month of February. There were 21 calls in Pompton Lakes, 14 calls in Riverdale, 13 duty calls in Wanacue. There were 37 emergency calls, 12 trauma injury calls, no CPR calls, 5 motor vehicle accident calls, 1 fire call, and that's my report.
Thank you. Councilman Cruz, you got a motion if you want to start with that.
I'm sorry, what was that?
You have a motion on the agenda. Do you have it in front of you?
Yes.
Should I read this? Yeah, you have this part, right? You have this.
The bottom part right
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
Okay. So a motion to approve for Pompton Lakes Riverdale Little League to conduct the annual parade that leaves the Pompton Lakes High School parking lot and marches through the business district to the Joe Grill Little League complex near the south end of town for opening ceremony scheduled for Saturday, excuse me, April 9th, 2022, starting at 12 p.m. During the parade, police department will temporarily close the route. Portions of this route include county roads, notify police, first fire, and first aid. Can I get a motion, please?
You are the motion.
I have a motion.
Can I have a second? Council President Polidori. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, now your report.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Just have a few items. As Council President Polidori mentioned, the Recreation Committee has a teen night, which is on the 21st of March. It's being held at the VFW. They've been doing a really great job communicating this through Instagram and Facebook, and just word of mouth, just trying to share with the kids. I know my daughter's planning on attending and a few of her friends. She's a great resource because I could just pass this along to her and then she can go ahead and hand that out to all her friends in the school district. So this is really great. They're doing a great job and I'm looking forward to hearing how everything turned out for that night. For sports related, as we're going into spring right now, we have the spring 22 soccer information. We have the Mighty Mites, Pee Wee, and instructional players for first and second grade. This is an 8-week program starting March 26th and it ends May 21st. This is going to be at Independence Field. Please look for any communication that's going to be shared as well on Facebook and on Instagram for more information on that. And lastly, I have just a few items from the Board of Ed. The first thing which I kind of forgot about this, and it's pretty cool that they do this. They have the school prom dress collection that's going to be started on April 1st. So obviously, I'm not sure if anybody here has any high school kids, but if you have any friends, family members who have lightly used prom dresses, please donate them. They'll be opening up their selection on April 2nd for students to come in. The district is also going to host a cultural festival. And this is pretty great.
they're in the early stages. They don't have all the details outlined just yet. But I want to say that it's wonderful to celebrate and promote diversity, and I think this is a really great opportunity. We're a very diverse town, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of the visual arts, the dress where they're going to have, and some of the crafts they're going to have in place. As soon as they provide the information, I will share it at my next report, hopefully within the next month.
They had one a couple years ago. The food was great.
I'm waiting. I can get it from her.
So just going back to the dance, I just want everybody to understand that the rec department will be holding a dance. And what's the date exactly?
April.
It's on the flyer.
I'm sorry. It's, where is it? March 21st.
March 21st. And what's the time?
The time is 6 to 8? No. No. Hold on. The time is from 7 to 9 for 6th to 8th grade.
Okay, so it's March 21st? 21st from 6 to 8, between 5th and, was it 5th grade?
6, 7, and 8.
6th, 7th, and 8th graders. There is no charge for the event. It will be chaperoned. The only request that will be put on the kids is, once they enter the establishment, if they leave, they can't come back in. So it will be chaperoned. It will be run by the rec department. It's a watch closely kind of group. It's just not a free-for-all meeting. The VFW does provide us the space for free for this to start. We're trying to get back into the swing of having a teen center again. So this is a good first step in trying to get the kids introduced and hanging out and doing what they used to do in our teen center. So pass the word around. It's been on social media, like Bobby said. And if you know anybody that's interested, please pass that along. Okay, Councilwoman Kent.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening. I have a DPW report. It's relatively quick. If anybody had any property damage that was done by the plows on their curb area or on their lawn, just let our DPW office know, and then once it warms up, they're going to go out and they will reseed and fix any damage that was caused by the plows. So just let them know, and they'll have a list for that. The same thing, again, with the potholes. Just let the DPW know. If it's town roads, we'll fix them. If it's county roads, they're going to send a list over to the county for repair. And to Mr. Hinton's request, the line road stripping, they have that on their schedule, and once it has to just be warmer in order for the paint to take, and they're going to start with the schools because that's identified as a priority, and then they'll work their way through town with the rest. So if you have any other areas, just let the DPW know, and they'll keeping a list on that. So that's from our superintendent. I also attended the habitat restoration work plan, which was provided by the Flood Advisory Board. Lauren Venon and Steve Floman are two professional people that put together an amazing professional map of the riparian rights program that we're going to be doing. They're going to restore the habitats with around 2,000 different plants. It is going to be done by volunteers. We're going to need a lot of volunteers. And it'll be probably on May 1st. And the end of April, we're going to be looking at some removal of some of the invasive species of weeds that are out there. This was done under the $10,000 grant for the New Jersey Sustainable New Jersey program, and we have a really nice plan going right now. I want to thank Kevin Boyle for getting us in touch. We had to have the town engineer sign and certify this plan before we even touch it. So and Kevin, you did this on your day off, and I thank you for that, because it's time sensitive right now because we're running out of time. And so we're waiting now for the engineer to review the plan, and then he'll sign it. And then once he signs it, the certification goes to DEP because they're responsible for the riparian certifications. And then we should be okay to start a project. So we're just waiting for that. But I want to thank you, Kevin, for moving that along really fast. I attended the Board of Health meeting. And just so everyone knows, there in New Jersey, we were the last state in the nation to have a cottage law pass. But what that allows certain people to do, if you have to be certified and you have to pay a fee for certification, it's all done through the state of New Jersey. It's not through the local health departments. You can bake certain items that are non-milk, those that can't go bad or rancid. It's limited right now to what you can do, but I know a lot of people see in social media, you can, buy maybe certain foods. Some of those foods are not on that list, and you can get in trouble if you use your home to sell these foods and somebody gets sick. But that'll all be done through the state. It's not done through our town. And you can make, I think, up to $50,000 in revenue, but but we don't really do anything with that. So however, it's, if you want to buy from somebody like that, we suggest you know who they are, because they're right now, they're really not being inspected by anyone. There's no food establishment inspector that goes like you have in a bakery type of thing. But it's a good thing because it does allow people that opportunity to, bake their beautiful cookies that they probably wouldn't have an opportunity to do, or cakes. But there are certain things they cannot bake, and just be aware of that whole issue. If you have any questions, you call the health department on that if you have any questions on that. And I did also attend a Zoom meeting on the budget, and I'm not much of a budget person other than I spend all my money. So, but it was really an amazing thing just to watch all the professionals put together the budgets and come up with a budget like that. And in this time of, in our society, what's going on, to come up with a budget with $27 increases, I think was amazing. I want to thank you, Kevin, and I want to thank our financial people. They did a great job, and I hope it passes, and I hope everyone's happy with that. And I also just attended a personnel issue, and so I've been pretty busy past 2 weeks. And that's my report.
Thank you. I forgot to mention, and you reminded me when you brought the health department, the COVID numbers for last month, February I'm talking about now, we had 21 total cases in the town. The last 16 days, counting back from the 15th of February, we've had 0 cases. So most of those cases that I just said of the 21 were in the beginning of February. That's great news. That's good news for everybody. That's why the schools are opening up. That's why we're opening up, and we just want to move forward from there. So, I thank the residents, and there'll be more to follow on this later. I thank the residents in Pompton Lakes for doing the right things back when times were tough. As a town, we really had few problems with residents fighting us on anything. They were respectful. They did what they had to do. Maybe didn't agree with it, but, were respectful for the fact that when they came into this building or when they dealt with the police department or wherever, they did the right thing. So I thank everybody for taking that time to do that. And I'm glad to see we're opening up. The schools are opening up. I'm glad to hear all that. I skipped Councilman DeLine, so we're going back to Councilman DeLine.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. First of all, just to add a little bit more information to the Habitat Restoration Project, there's actually going to be over a course of 2 weekends. April 23rd and 24th will be at 10 a.m. on April 23rd and 2 p.m. on April 24th will be the removal of invasive species. So the group will be working through that to remove those invasive species, clear out the area. And then the following weekend on April 30th at 10 a.m. and Sunday, May 1st at 10 a.m., that's when the volunteers will be planning their riparian buffers. Again, volunteers are greatly appreciated. It is going to be a lot of work. I know that there's been discussion with the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, and people that are a little closer to the ground are definitely appreciated, because after a while bending over hurts. So again, just keep an eye out for that. I think there'll be more information next couple of weeks, but we do have some permitting and due diligence to take care of. I mentioned the budget. Again, that required a couple of meetings of the Finance Committee, along with the mayor and Council President Polidori. I participated in a second round of interviews for our next borough administrator. We see quite a few resumes, and some were more appropriate than others. But ultimately, what we got down to was 4 interviews that I actually thought were very strong candidates. They all had different strengths, different perspectives, and I think all who would have greatly benefited the borough in their role. And again, through this process, that we've identified one particular candidate, which I guess the council will be able to see their resume very soon. And I think that again, it was consensus among the 3 of us. And I think that this person was really the right person for the job. So again, we'll be moving forward with that process as it requires. But again, thank you, Mayor, for bringing us in. And I really do look forward to working with that person in the future. Speaking of personnel, just attended a meeting of the Personnel Committee with the police chief Again, we'll be reviewing some policy and legislation information that I think will benefit our police department, should we move forward with the ordinance. Again, it's something that was a change at the state law, that every municipality, police department can follow suit. We can benefit from it, we can be hurt from it. But again, it's something that we're going to be looking at, I think, to adopt in the future. Library board meeting a couple weeks ago. The library met, again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the year, they went through their circulation. At that time in January, it looked like circulation was really bouncing back pre-COVID. Again, that trend has continued. People are going to the library, they are checking out books. The one thing that had been lagging was the more or less the video borrowing, and that seems to be also rebounding. So it's good to see as the events go and people are utilizing facilities and out and about in the world, our libraries simultaneously benefiting. So again, that's a good thing. The board did have a long discussion. There is going to be a library employee, a longtime library employee, that is going to be retiring in the near future. They've accumulated a number of benefits, so they're trying to work through that because they, I guess, previously didn't have a formal policy on a number of things. I believe that they're going to reach out to you, Kevin, or Michael was going to.
I've already talked to Mike about it.
Okay, so I think what we're going to do, the board's going to do, is try and follow the borough's policy as it pertains to their remaining sick time and vacation. And then finally, Randy, Mr. Hinton, it's funny that you come up today because I get these daily emails and they're called daily meditations, but they're really a matter of daily perspectives. And today's theme was on the realm of people do well when they can, and that people are always usually acting in good intentions and people are doing the best that they can. And I thank you for your apology. I know that you didn't intend anything malicious. You really were acting in the best intentions on behalf of Shade Tree. So I appreciate the apology. I accept your apology, and I look forward to continuing our good relationship working together.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Please no talking from the audience.
And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Professional report.
I was asked a couple of weeks ago to prepare the corrected ordinance for the 525. Through our diligence, we actually identified there's supposed to be 3 ordinances that were supposed to be done. We've drafted them. We're just waiting for the specific measurements from the developer's engineer, so we could actually say, you place the sign here. We know approximately where they go.
Okay.
And we identified the signs. It's just, we need a way to triangulate the location so it's specifiable. We'll get that information within a week. We'll have it for the next council meeting.
Good. Okay, administrator's report.
Just a couple of things, Mayor. We go back memory to summertime. We received an email from residents of Clearview Lane asking to vacation a portion of Clearview Lane since they maintain it as a grassed area. As you recall, we had the police department go out, the fire department go out to see if there's any reason in the engineer. And we felt the borough had no reason not to work through the vacation. Well, we had the title company do the work. I haven't seen the title bill, but it's going to be expensive. It's extensive title work, and it comes out that the borough doesn't have right to Clearview Lane.
Who does?
No, it says here that there was no fee title interest or portion of Clearview Lane given to the borough of Pompton Lakes. And actually, you can go back. Clearview was actually a gentleman who lived in Wayne who owned this property years ago. So now it has to happen that these individuals want to vacate that property, split up. They have to now hire their own surveyors to do that.
So each property owns a piece of it?
Right to the center line. Yeah. Yeah. So it's on our books as a non-developed road, but in fact, it really isn't our road to develop.
But they theoretically could use that space too if they wanted. It's their property.
Well, nobody knew that.
Right, nobody.
Remember when I first came here?
I remember.
There was a fight over
you do.
driving up and down.
Yes, I remember.
So anyway, so now we find out that we had no real control of the land anyway. So they have to now decide themselves, we want to pay for the survey work to go forward. The county of Passaic is going to be providing us with 5,000 hand sanitizers from the Swab Corporation, 24 boxes, 5,000, a big pallet. Probably put some here, give some to the schools, give the library, whatever's left, maybe a Pompton Day. But I felt it was better to take the donation and have somebody say you gave back 5,000 hand sanitizer. So Dan's gonna be picking up shortly, put down the garage, and then we'll start distributing those. You also, a copy of DEP has filed a settlement letter relative to the issue with our encroachment to the river a year or so ago, so that's now been settled. And lastly, I was on a phone call today with Paul Ferraro and PSE&G. They're going to start doing a lot of work in town. They have a lot of buried pipe that is no longer no longer allowed to be in the ground. It's basically bare pipe that's been over 100 years. So one of the areas we're going to look to work in eventually is up on Glenport. But just to let us know today, though, the project is coming down Turnpike, the Hamburg Turnpike in Riverdale. That's the project going to turn up
Oh, yeah.
Ringwood. So they're going to start that project the next 2 days, and we'll be on Ringwood out in that area of the church for about 6 to 8
They did a
weeks.
horrible paving job on that, just a horrible.
But again, that'll change now, because they're not going to rip that all up.
All right, so, yeah, but, so are they gonna dig it, put the pipe in and then cover it, or then do the whole road?
Oh, they're going to do their portion of the road. And I think the county's going to try to get them to expand it for now.
Yeah.
But eventually, the county's going back anyway, something after they're done, and actually do all of.
Right, that piece in Riverdale right now, it's horrible to drive on, because it's 2 lanes, and it's just a mess. I hope they're not gonna plan on doing that.
But that's county road, and the county deals with that, but they are coming, just so you know, they close that, or
We'll
on
make,
their way.
we'll make some calls to the county, because it can't look like that, it's just horrible. And I live over there, so I definitely don't want that.
But again, but they also said too, is in points in time, depending on where they are, they might do full weight paving they had never done before,
Right.
based upon the total square foot of paving. Well, let's say they have 500,000 square foot of paving in Pompton Lakes. And we have some of these roads that are more highly traveled, we might say pave that full width. It means the other roads will only get to the trench. So there's gonna be one of these things you have to play off, who gets the trench, who gets the full width, but they never even did full width paving before, so it's trying to change that policy, so.
So who gets the, when we do get the trenches, they don't come back after the fact, that's the done job by PSE&G when they finish the trench.
Well, what happened is that when we get the permit, every year I give it to Ferraro, and they go out and double check those trenches to make sure, and sometimes they come back and repair them, sometimes they have to do a repave, but we are on top of it. We do go out every year at each season to make sure trenches are not collapsing, so.
All right,
So just so you know, PSCG's coming.
Yeah, I think, for the residents concerned, and I agree with them, if you have a new road that was put down there, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and then they're digging it up and doing a junky patch job on top of it, it's just not right for the residents. So I want
We have to keep on top of it.
Yeah, we gotta keep on
They give us
top of
the
it.
permits, we do, we
Yeah.
fine for that.
Okay, any questions for the administrator? Okay. Can I have a motion to open the meeting for public comment?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Blind, Council President Polidori, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Please step up.
Randy, can I add something before you start? Because I had something in my notes I wanted to mention and I overlooked it.
Go right ahead.
Randy and I spoke the other day about the email that was sent to all of us regarding the sapling for the Salem oak. Right, we were sent, Liz, did you send that? There was an attachment if you wanted to request one of the, what are they called?
I don't remember seeing it, so.
What would you call it, Randy? A sapling? A stem?
There would be
A root?
saplings, yeah.
We're able to pick them up, and I'm driving to Andover this year to pick up the trees for the 3rd grade because they're still not shipping them. Can we order one? Because after talking to Randy, he said he would be happy to find a place for it. Randy, do you want to talk a little bit about the Salem oak?
Yeah, the Salem oak is a over 200-year-old oak down, I think, Central Jersey, around Salem. And it finally had to be removed. But before they removed it, they took a lot of the acorns from it and started saplings and offered them out around to cities throughout.
Yeah, we spoke about this, right?
It's been brought up a few
Yeah.
times, but Councilwoman Polidori has a chance to get a few saplings. And a conversation I had with Councilwoman Kent about a lot of the trees that Shade Tree and previously Mrs. Kent had planted in town are beautiful trees, and we would someday like to set up a registry as to where these trees are, when they bloom, for the people that are interested in it. Not everybody's interested in trees.
Well, if you feel that there's space to put these trees in, then,
But the Salem oak, yeah, we could find, I mean, there's
yeah,
plenty of,
it'd be a shade tree thing, so if you guys.
yeah, there's plenty of spots down in the south end of town. Well, through our CSIP grant, we have planted quite a few trees, but this is a historic tree, and
Yeah, if you feel,
we
you
can
know,
squeeze it in someplace.
All right.
you know.
NJ Forestry is still not shipping their trees, so I have to go pick up the third grade trees this year. So it's the same day, if I'm gonna be there anyway.
yeah, it's just a little sapling or something, right? It's not a tree. So it's just a
It's the
little,
Yeah, it's
little-
just happening.
yeah, so you,
Saplings are
Seedling.
baby trees. It is a tree.
I understand that, but we're not needing a trunk, in other words.
You're a biology major. You should know this. Come on.
It's a seedling.
So the question
I
is
wouldn't have
how,
offered to drive a tree back.
I picked up last year down by me.
I mean, you have a pickup truck, so what's the?
I guess I could.
so how
Want me
many,
to get some
so
other bigger
I
trees
think
along there?
the question is, how many would you like?
No,
I don't know how many
no.
we can have.
No.
They may give you one.
I think they give you one.
One.
Oh, they only give you one,
One,
okay.
they give you
They
one.
may only give us
Let's
one,
see,
maybe.
One per, yeah, I
Councilwoman
thought,
can-
Yeah, it's one.
we talked, this came up
This,
somewhere.
this was,
while
this
ago.
was gonna happen years ago,
While ago.
but then COVID hit.
Oh,
This
okay.
was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And COVID hit and they shut everything.
Yeah, so we'll get one, and you guys take wherever you think it should go.
Okay,
It's cool.
well, that's good.
It's a cool.
Then it's a go.
Can you, if I send you the form that we received, I'll send it back to you.
Okay,
Just when you were talking about the paving, now I got my 5 minutes on, or?
sure,
did
now
I
it starts
just-
right from
Or did
now.
I just lose
She
3
intro,
minutes?
no, that starts from right now. Go ahead.
Talking about the paving on the end of Willard, on Ringwood Avenue there, they
Yeah.
they had the water main break, and they came, and they're starting to sink again right by the Franklin Plumbing, so I don't know if that's what you were referring to.
Yeah, and I spoke to the MUH just about that. There's a pretty big, even after they filled that hole in, there's still a big dip there.
There's a dip there,
Yeah, so I did tell the MUNA they have to relook at that.
Okay, just on a shade tree note, the last windstorm we had, we only had 2 trees that we have an issue with. So, and no power outages, so, sometimes I like to blow a little smoke up shade tree, so, this is my chance. So,
Now, we did have a branch come down though, right? It didn't.
We had the branch at Lincoln School, we had the large oak
Right.
in Challen,
Yeah.
9 Challen Court, and then on Lambert Street, across from,
Right, 'cause
Lakeside
the
School.
one in Chandler took down the wires, right? Did it get cooked up in the wires?
No, the one on Lambert, no, the one on Challen took out the neighbor's
Right.
sheds. The one on Lambert was around the power wires, but it didn't
Okay.
take out any wires. So Shade Tree will take care of that. Just on Woodstorm. Clara Hugh Lane, that's interesting, because Shade Tree planted 3 cherry trees, a request along there, so.
It depends, was it a dead end side?
Well, Clara Lane goes from Beach to Riverdale Boulevard.
Yeah, was it an area there?
Right. They won. They won on that. Where was I? No, you got me off kilter here. The Environmental Committee, I was talking to Councilwoman Kent, received a letter from the engineering company about the Willow project.
Okay.
This
they
was
have-
a
Yes, we did.
official legal notice. How come the environmental and none of the other shade tree never
I don't know why they
How is
even,
that-
I don't even know why environmental got it, to be honest, but they're not within the 200 feet.
That's what the engineering firm did.
Okay, because that was the official legal notice. We've been going over this for
Right,
years.
yeah, the official, I'll be honest, I don't know why they would have gotten it.
We received a letter from our borough engineer, Fiero, that he sent us, he
Oh, it
sent us
wasn't
the letter.
DEP that sent it.
It wasn't the 200-foot.
Oh, it wased that letter
No,
initially?
no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, it
Yeah, I
was
gonna
from
say,
Fiero.
why would
yeah.
environmental get the 200 foot?
Wait, I think, I think, I don't know if open space got it, but EPC definitely
Okay.
received it.
Just curious, the salary increases for the borough, when does that being published? When is that coming
I
out?
was in the resolution, I didn't.
Yeah, but you got the individual salaries that usually are published. They're usually at a council meeting, or
I don't know, 2%.
you don't?
Some of the finance ordinance, the salary roster, this ordinance.
The 2%
Resolution I titled was done in December,
Yeah,
2022.
I believe so.
That was done in December already. The resolution, every position by, salary by position was done in December.
For 2022.
I can provide you a copy if you want it.
Excuse me?
I can provide a copy if you want it.
Okay, appreciate that.
The 2022 was done in December, so we were ready for the budget.
Okay. Just recently, a bid had talked to me about trees on the little railroad property on Cannonball Road behind the caboose. And I contacted the railroad, and I talked to a Tom Charette. He's a supervisor from North Jersey, and he said he would take care of it. And I just want to give him a compliment that they were
They're
there
gone.
today,
Yeah.
and all those trees have been removed.
Good.
Now, Bid was talking to me about planting something there.
I don't know if we
That's-
Not ours.
Now, talking to Tom, that is railroad property,
Right.
number one.
Right.
Number two, there's a law, whereas you can't plant anything close to an intersection that would impair the view of the operating engineer of the train. So we were talking about maybe flowers for Councilman Venon, daffodils, make it look nice. Well, they spray herbicides all
do.
along both sides of the railroad. And he says 10-1, that herbicide is what contributed to the decline of those pine trees. So I just want to.
So part of that, because I had that discussion also with somebody there. The other part of that is, we called that a park. That is a park by Rotary Park somehow.
Don Cromp.
Yeah, so somebody made that a park years ago somehow. We don't
Right.
even own the property. This is what it looks like to me.
It's kind of unusual.
It's a little unusual, yes.
And that's probably when the pines were put. I mean, Councilman Begg may know.
Believe it was Rotary.
Right, so that's a whole nother situation now. We're gonna have to look at that. I mean, I don't know if we can name a park on land we don't own. So-
It's already
I
done.
think they
I
got-
know,
Yeah, it's done.
Well,
I think they got permission.
That's why I said W never took it down.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
But maybe, you know, I agree with what the bid was saying and what you were saying, is it is an entrance to the town there. And maybe they can do something that doesn't die, even maybe some fake flowers, I don't know, fake plants, whatever, just to make it look a little better.
It's not our property.
Well, we can make it look a little nicer, I think, right?
Still not our property.
Well, I
You know,
think-
the complaint that he had, talking to the supervisor, said a borough employee was struck by the train years past. I don't know if Councilman Begg would know that. He was running a weed whacker and he had his headphones on, and he couldn't hear a train coming.
Actually, it was not an employee, it was somebody following the employee.
So, I mean, it's a hazardous area. It's,
We'll have to talk about it. Kevin will have to figure out something there.
the goose adderling is starting. You were talking about the island in the lake, that we don't have a boat to get to it anymore.
Maybe we talk to the police department, maybe they'll take us out.
Yeah, what's our chances? Should I talk to the chief? or
I'll
should-
make that call.
Oh, okay.
But we don't have a group there.
Yeah, he probably has a slightly better chance.
The upper one. So I don't, but I think the other part of that is I gotta talk to Kevin, but I don't know if we have a group going to that island.
Well, you and I could go.
We could.
I asked you to teach me last year. There wasn't enough.
We could,
Can I
the
go
three of
this
us
year?
could go. And the chief could operate the
There wasn't
boat.
enough geese.
That's a good thing.
That'll be a great thing.
All right, give me a
Let's hope we
date.
all come back.
Could be a 4-hour tour.
A 3-hour tour. Yeah, that'd
Is it
be a
gonna be better
3-hour
if I come
tour.
back alone?
I will.
I hope I come back.
I'll see what I can do and we'll pick a date.
All right. Also, thank you for bringing up the deer issue. The deer issue is a serious issue. It's not a laughing issue. It's a serious issue. The deer are getting worse and worse.
They are?
And we're going to have to address it in a matter of time. I know you're reluctant, but it's going to have to be addressed.
Look, I've always said there's an issue with the deer, but we can't just clean our town. It has to be all the towns doing it.
We could do our part.
It's not gonna help. I've
Yes, it
spoken-
will help.
No, it'll
Yes,
help
it
for a
will.
very short time.
You're not
and
a
then
big
deer come
hunter.
in.
You don't know much about deer.
Oh, I spoke to the department though. They said if all the areas are not doing it, it'll make it better for a little while and then they'll just get back in.
Then you have to work with surrounding mayors.
Well,
And I know you have the ability to talk.
I do have
You're
that.
very good at that. Am I out of time?
Yes,
No, I'm not. What was the last one?
doesn't matter. You're out of time.
I'm out of time. Okay, I guess I'm out of time. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
So moved.
Councilman DeLine, Councilman Venon, all in favor?
Aye.
Approach the floor. Anybody approach the floor?
I just want to mention the PSE&G that you mentioned, they're going to shut your heat off, they're going to turn your gas off for 4 hours. I called them, so I hope people realize they're not going to, I'm hoping it's a warm day, it's not a cold day.
Well, Liz will get a lot of calls on that.
Oh, I'm not, happy because it's going to affect me, and I don't like.
You actually got courts on hold.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, they have environmental issues in Glencourt that's on hold.
Environmental.
They didn't tell me, they said they had to do some environmental review to sort of.
Oh, because of the
hold.
DuPont.
So typically now there's a big project on Hamburg.
All right, but they are gonna turn the heat off.
Will they
and they're gonna-
notify people?
Well, I called because I wanted to know.
Then we will get calls.
Yeah, I called them and that's what they told me. They did not say that. They gave you a letter. That's all they gave you was a
Maybe we
letter.
should post something on Facebook.
Well, when we have the times and
When
dates,
you
yes.
get the information, it should be posted, because we will get calls.
But, us being the middleman on that gets us some problems too, because that's really from PSE&G, and then we don't have answers when residents start calling. If it goes past the 4 hours, or if they didn't do the right day, or whatever.
Well, I would just direct them to PS.
Right, I think that's probably the best thing we can do, is just direct them to PSE&G.
Yeah. And just, Mayor, if you're gonna meet with this Business U magazine, I would just ask that you take them on a tour of the rivers and the trails.
Yeah, we sent them pictures. They did everything through pictures.
Okay.
And then they're just gonna do an interview, and then they'll write a story from that way. So they're not coming actually into town, it's gonna be a Zoom thing, actually.
Oh, okay, I thought they were coming.
Yeah.
Because that is really one of the prettiest things
Yeah,
that we
they
have.
they
is
got,
our-
they got river pictures. I mean, I
Okay.
had Karen, Mike Corelli, and Val send probably 1,000 photos. to
Oh,
them.
okay.
So they're
Very
gonna
good.
pick what they're gonna
Okay,
use.
thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, motion to adjourn into closed session.
Motion.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Randy, they were out there.
We're recording.
Okay, in closed session, we discussed attorney privilege of an employee and, I guess what's, what do we want to call it?
Attorney-client communication regarding potential legislation and its impacts.
For the first one, though, for the
Personnel.
personnel, okay. And personnel for a new hire. Motion to close,
So
come out
moved.
of. Councilman Devine, Councilman Bennett. All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor
Against?
ran out of steam.
You guys are jumping before I even say anything.